Hello, everybody, and welcome back to today's very productive episode of Jace Beleren Must Die. We have before us a murder to perform, but to do so, we need a plan. And I think we landed on fake janitors. I think is that where we decided to go?
I think the first step is reconnaissance into a maybe fake janitor type situation.
Yeah.
Depends on if he has them, because if he doesn't have janitors, that'd be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, generally, one would have like cleaning staff rather than janitors.
I get it. You want us all to be in maid outfits. We'll get there.
I mean, you have those. They're available. You have them, right?
They're so cute.
Wait, so
gonna let it happen naturally.
Now what you really need is you want the kid to be having like a birthday party or a whatever, like an orcish bar mitzvah, and then cater the party as the cafe employee. There's an angle for it.
I thought you were gonna say like get hired as the latest idol group, and then I was like, oh yeah, I've watched one K-pop song. I'm ready.
So you know where Zlatek Ironclad works because it's in the same police apparatus as your sister, Road. You don't really know, I don't think, like what exactly it is that he does. Like he's not a cop in the go out and bust crime kind of way. Like he's not part of that column, I don't think. He's more like a lawyer. I think he was Sova column. And he's a big deal. Because we saw him at that event, right? And he was like a major player there. You know where he lives, right? I think you know where his house is.
The address. Yeah. I think his address was in the burn book. Mm-hmm. So
that's right. Yes, because that's right. Yeah. So so you know where he lives, you know his family, you know where he works, and you also know that there is a secret underground Jace Beleren cult / sex club thing that he's got that he attends sometimes.
What's the name of the sex club, I wonder?
What's that?
What's the name of the sex club?
Yeah.
We'll think about it in Zoom backstage. You please. Oh boy. Please keep going.
So so that's what you know. What do you want to do? How do you want to get at this guy?
I think that we should spend some time surveilling. The good old spy way. Let's spend 3 to 4 days. Let's see when the staff changes in the house. Let's see when he leaves for work and when he gets back. Let's learn a bit about this guy so we can not get caught. That sounds good to me.
Okay. Yeah. So a surveillance plan. All right. Who is doing what in this operation of surveilling the home of Zlatek Ironclad?
That's going to be Road and myself. We're going to go view Zlatek's home primarily, and then have Tack and Winnegar go view the police station. Yeah. Partly because Road and Torgor cannot be seen at the police station at all.
Yeah.
And also, as TK wonderfully brought up, they mentioned that if there are cops around, Tack is less likely to kill Winnegar. So...
Plus, Tack doesn't know this, but Winnegar's best friends with all the cops.
That's true. Yes. Yeah. So Winnegar is going into you're moving from a less certain position to a more certain one because you're buds with with Dovin Ban. Yeah. Rising star in the Azoria Senate. Okay.
I swear to God, every single cop's gonna like open the door for him and be like, "Excuse me, sir," and Tack's gonna be like, "What the fuck?"
I think I'm trying to think about the timeline. Okay, yeah. So all the chaos that's happening in the Golgari is in the Swarm is happening underground. None of that's like spilled over or anything. So there's probably some division of the Azorius that is like focused on keeping an eye on that, but it hasn't affected the surface world yet. So if you go to Precinct 1, I think by this point, it's been long enough since the fire that things have kind of returned to normal, which is to say high security, because it's Precinct 1 is always like that. And then Yeah, just like ornithopters all over the place. So yeah, tell me. So Torgor and Road, you have to be careful about getting spotted in this neighborhood. What are you doing to avoid that?
Pass without a trace.
Yeah.
I put I rolled this before we went to break, but I did a new disguise self.
Oh, I see it. Yes. Yeah. Let me show everybody. Okay. So Torgor, what are you disguised as, or is it just disguised as not Torgor?
I think in this move, in the neighborhood that we're going in, a Selesnyan like kind of just like guard. No, maybe not a Selesnyan guard, but like a Selesnyan enclave member, someone who like could pass as being of order and of also nature.
Yeah, so you would have like white linen like robes, probably like a beaded like necklace. If you bring your weapons along, you'll have to find an excuse for carrying them as well. What gear do you bring with you?
I think what's it called? Torgor just brings his rapier.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I like, and it's just on his hip, like sort of like I think it.
I can also hold that for you if you would like.
Oh, I would prefer that. Yes, and actually, my less than my rapier, my hammer. I think that would be the bigger thing. Then,
and I'm weak. Your hammer is so huge, and I'm a -1. Fine.
Well, so from what Torgor remembers from his ex, Irinya, that like because she was in the Selesnyan, like she was a Selesnyan guild member, so like the idea of walking in a certain manner, if anything. Oh God, no, disguise self can't really work on weapons. Or like if I used my disguise kit.
You're making a roll with your disguise kit would allow you to disguise like one weapon as something else. A rapier is pretty hard to disguise because that big basket hilt and but like you could disguise like a.
Could I disguise my maul as an ornate walking stick? Perchance
the maul. I mean, the bottom part of the maul looks like a walking stick, and then the big, heavy smashing part at the end is the hard part to.
Covering it, it's a 15, so it's not great, but covering it with like moss and like some like bark and things like that.
You could make it look like a Selesnyan sledgehammer rather than the bloodstained mess, and that's fine. Like people go around with weapons all the time in Ravnica. Sure. It's a dangerous place. Okay, all right. So. What's funny is that Torgor, you are now dressed like your ex always wanted you to dress, right? Like you look at yourself in the mirror at the roses. Do vampires' houses have mirrors in them? No, you're looking yourself at the back of a spoon, and you look.
Not one of my spoons.
So chat brings up a good point. Did you get a chance to grab your maul? Because it was tangled up in the rigging, so I don't actually think you have it.
I
maybe
don't
a moot point.
Have my maul anymore, guys. Okay, well, let me update my thing to say not active.
Yeah, got left behind. Yeah,
got left behind.
Oh no. I'm not disguising the guildless. It's fair to say that like the guildless are just kind of like the paint on the wall of Ravnica, right?
Yeah, they are the trudging gray clad extras in the background. I don't think that it's like it's not like being in a guild is a privileged position and that most people are guildless. I think to be guildless you have to actually be like an objector. Like you have to be like, no, I refuse all the guilds. Or like get kicked out of your guild and not be able to join another one. Like they're pretty much the dregs of society.
Yeah, cool. I'm into it. I'm wearing like a turtleneck and like a hood just to like minimize the jellyfish aspect of my life. That I'm still in my like sad. I honestly think she's maybe gone like is wearing sweatpants.
Yeah.
Like fashion, like joggers, but still a real low for her. is in sweatpants.
This is a great outfit: a hoodie, a turtleneck, sweatpants, and I assume Crocs, probably of some kind.
She would die for
Uggs then, or no? I don't.
yeah.
She's just walking around wearing a label-less pumpkin spice latte, just holding it. It's just like, yeah.
Okay, yeah, you're just basic enough to blend into the background. Okay, so your disguise is less like an actual disguise and more like just using pass without trace to make sure people look around and past you instead of at you. Yeah. Okay, now you only have an hour for pass without trace, so do you want to get into position and then use it for the stakeout, or
7 key points?
That's
so
true.
I
Yeah.
can always recharge if like surveillance what we're doing. That's 3 hours that I can get us.
Nice.
In and
Okay.
out.
I think I would like to get someplace nearby that has either like a rooftop view of their facility before we like duck into an alley and then pass without our trace.
Yeah. So Zlatek Ironclad, and is it just the two of you doing the surveilling?
Yeah, we're just the two at the house, and then the other two are precincts.
Okay, so for you two
along the way,
yeah, go ahead.
Along the way, yeah, I was gonna say, Torgor just like looks at Rod and be like, and I get it. I look good in the outfit. That's not the point. It just doesn't feel. It just feels like she wanted me to be something I wasn't.
My God. There are all these sad photos of like you and Arena on her Instagram, and you're like dressed up in this like hippie thing, and she's smiling, and it's clear that Toro's trying to look comfortable but just can't do it.
Oh,
yeah. See, you could tell, like pulling it up on my crystal. You could tell. I just.
Yeah, you don't look happy.
I wasn't. I mean, this is okay because I know I'm doing this disguise. You know what I mean? Like that one felt.
But was your relationship a disguise too?
I ask myself that most days. I'll be honest.
Where's that champagne?
Come on. Don't worry. I got some stakeout wine. We'll be okay. And some steak.
So I wonder about that. I don't think we talked about this briefly, that Ravnica has minotaurs, but it does not have cows. There are no cows. So it'd be like crunch steak, and a crunch is like kind of a lizard kind of thing, I think.
What about, I know there's like oxes and rams.
Well, but I
don't
think there are is the thing. I think there are like weird fantasy things that are kind of like those things, but they're not, right? Like I don't think they're like dogs and cats in a traditional sense, but they're like weird magic alien looking things that are like dogs or like cats.
Are there eggs?
I mean, yeah, they're egg laying things for sure.
Just checking.
I'm looking up Ravnican beasts right now. To see.
Well, the thing is, it's hard with a setting like this because if it's not good enough to warrant or interesting enough to warrant a magic card, it's hard to find information about it because it's like we don't know if it's cool though. Okay, so the two of you are you're on your way here, and you're in the neighborhood of Zlatek Ironclad's home, and it's all mansions. It's all big houses. They're all very expensive. But they're not like the Orzhov, like manors or estates, right? Like they're not these big old fancy buildings. These all look pretty new, and more or less like unlived in. They are expensive status symbols more than they are homes. And so as a result, in the neighborhood, you see a lot more people like you're trying to be disguised as than you would see the people that live in these homes or their families, right? Like you see people cutting their lawn or people painting the side of the house, like a lot of service people, but not a lot of inhabitants as you're walking through the streets of this neighborhood.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Right? It helps.
Yeah. Noticing a lot of like the outfits that are present and the style of clothing. I would say being mindful and then like also paying attention to the type of citizens who are in this area in terms of like are they mainly Vidalkins? Are they mainly like half elves? Are they like, what is the like ethnographic makeup, so that if we come back later and you can't have a Minotaur be a servant if I was the only Minotaur servant.
Yeah, no, in most D&D settings, the answer to this question would be it's mostly humans with like a slight smattering of the other species.
Cool.
But Ravnica is a lot more cosmopolitan than most, so it's a pretty good mix of everything. Now, the only thing that would be kind of more absent would be like you're not going to see a Devkar and elf because they pretty much exclusively live underground, or like a high elf for that matter because they're almost exclusively like Selesnyan fancy pants. But yeah, there are like you see a Vidalkin pushing a lawnmower, and you see a group of goblins painting somebody's house. And these are the kinds of people that you would notice this road because it's been on your mind a lot. These are the kinds of jobs and the kinds of things that the guildless do, right? Like if you need base level like labor, this is what these people get hired for. They're the kinds of people that if the Izzet could build robots to do all of their work for them, the guildless would just vanish. But yeah, this is the thing. You see all these guildless laborers kind of just working on the houses and tending to the yards, and nobody even notices you. They just look right past you as you walk down the sidewalk.
Torgor, do you ever wonder if the guildless have like a leader or an icon we know nothing about?
I don't even know if they have any sort of like structure like that. If they're in any way, shape, or form organized, I feel like that's why you reject the guilds, right? You don't want that overarching structure. Like,
Road, can you make a history check? And actually do it with advantage because you and Torgor are just having this conversation, so it might trigger either of your memories.
Okay. History, a 0, so it's the luck of the dice.
16, not bad. Okay. I think you've both heard like rumors, and maybe it's interesting because it's so close, but you've heard rumors that there is a gang, because there are like criminal gangs all over the place, like guildless like gangs. There's a gang that operates in the Tin Street neighborhood, run by a goblin named Krenko, and he is kind of like de facto the closest to that. He is someone that if the guildless need help, they can go to. He's got kind of a like Dickensian gang leader kind of vibe where like people who are desperate will go to him and he'll be like, yes, I can help you, but you have to do this for me. So there is that. And you never met him yourself. You've never had any reason to interact with anybody like that. But certainly the concept is possible, if not straight up true. And every once in a while, a conspiracy theory will come up where, the guilds will be like, we have to keep an eye on those guildless because they're going to organize and they're going to come and get us.
I'm thinking,
yeah,
why haven't we mobilized them?
Because I think a lot of them are, I think they're mercenaries. I think a lot of them just do whatever job that needs to be done. Like, there's Krenko. I know about Krenko. He's like a goblin warrior that's guildless. And
yeah, but like a mob boss, that's not a leader.
I mean, what, you don't think a mob boss is like he leads his people? Like, we could, if you want to, I think if you want to talk to somebody with some sway over these individuals, Krenko might be the way in.
I'm just saying, if we offered them, if we could give them a convincing argument for a better future, would they not?
I really like how quickly this is becoming the plot of The Dark Knight Rises. Like, what if we took all the pores and we made them into an army and then we overthrew Ravnica.
I lived in darkness.
It's certainly an option, though. There are lots of guildless. They're around. But to your point, Torgor, that's the whole point of the guildless, is that they are disloyal, that they have no loyalty to a particular guild, which makes them hard to organize because they can't agree with one another.
Oh, food for thought. I drank more of the stakeout wine. Where is this man's house?
Yeah, so you're gonna hang out and you're gonna watch the house. And under what auspices are you gonna do this? Are you gonna try to find, because like it's all residential area around here. Yeah.
I think as of now, the fact that no one has paid attention to us, what if we took a couple laps around the building, just survey it from ground level, and then see if we can find a way to get up and look down into it.
Yeah, are they all like boring houses? Do they have flat rooftops? Or what are we looking around at? Are there alleyways? Like or is it all yards?
So I imagine that probably, because I'm thinking about how like a mansion, what it would look like in Ravnica, because Ravnica is so like crowded and like natural space is so rare, and like having a big lawn wouldn't necessarily be a status symbol. It would just be like how tall your house is, I imagine. So a lot of these are not that big across side to side, but they're like 6 or 7 story kind of like almost like towers. And so there's a lot of height in this neighborhood. And in some cases, the manors span like across the street. So they'll have like a building on one side and a building on the other connected by a sky bridge overhead. But it's effectively the same like building. And as usual, everything is quite like, despite the grandeur of this place and the relative wideness of the street here in Precinct 1, it's still quite crowded, right? It's still kind of like closed in. And I think as far as like places to hide, the only problem is that in Ravnica proper, if you're out in the streets, climbing up onto some roof isn't usually too bad, because there's like a mix of like buildings around. But here it's like you're gonna climb onto somebody's house and like they might notice, and like there's all these people around. But again, they're guildless like servants, so they're the ones you have to be worried about, not the people that own or like live in these houses.
We could always now do that pass without a trace and like try to like stealthily get up somewhere and like look.
Yeah. I mean, with pass, the thing with pass without trace, you could stand across the street and just stand there for an hour, and the chance of anyone even noticing you, like it is magic.
Right.
So.
Yeah. If we can take sort of, if it's a huge house, which I assume it is, I think that we should look for like where the service entrance and exit would be, and then put it out there.
Yeah. So when you get there, it looks like the Ironclad family is in the midst of renovations. They're adding a wing to the house. So you can see that there is the mansion itself, and it looks like they've purchased the mansion next door, which has been knocked down, and they're building basically another wing and connecting it. And so there's all this scaffolding, and there are guildless construction crews around, and there's lots of like construction materials, so like big things of cement in like the big bags of cement sitting on one side, and wheelbarrows and tools and whatever. And there is a crew here that looks like they're doing kind of basic like foundational stuff. They're putting up walls, and so you can hear hammering and you know whatever from this work crew, and you're standing across the street.
Cool. I would like to look and see exactly at the point of connection between the building and this new like empty lot that's got like support. What does it look like? Is it like a tarp that's connecting these two buildings? Is it really like, is it closed off?
Yeah, I imagine that you can see they're going to build this second wing, right? The guest house or whatever. And they're going to build a hallway that connects them. And you can see the outer door that will become the inner door of the hallway, but they obviously haven't like knocked it down or anything yet.
Cool,
but you can see they're kind of like, they've measured a frame around it, and they're going to kind of build those things. Yeah.
So, are we able to catch what the staff uniform looks like for work in the house?
Yeah, they're wearing the standard proletarian gray. Like it's nothing. There's no uniform because they're not contractors from a company. Like they just are people where probably a little higher up, there's probably some like business, and Ironclad contracted with them, and then they hired guildless on a day-to-day basis just to like come and do the work.
Okay.
Torgor, my worry is that sometimes when rich people renovate their houses, they don't stay in the house while they're renovating.
No,
So-
That makes complete sense. I have an idea. I call over I like grab what I don't grab, but like I try to get attention of one of the guild lists.
It's very, it's very difficult. So you're like,
Yeah.
hey, and the guild list looks over.
I
like,
move out of the way.
who said
like,
that?
No, please. Yeah.
And then and you move, and as soon as you get 30 feet away from Torgor, the guy's like, oh, shit, man, you scared me. Oh, what the hell? Were you standing there the whole time?
Oh, sorry. I understand my Selesnian demeanor makes it more difficult to find and see me. I know that Selesnians are so boring and unaware and have flat personalities that we don't stand out that much.
And so this guy's like kind of nodding. He's like, yeah, man, you got a funny accent.
Yeah, I grew up around a lot of Loxodons.
That's what it is. You sound like a Loxodon. You talk so slow. It's
the Selesnian guild that I was raised in. Enough about me definitely being a Selesnian guild member. I would love to hear. I'm supposed to meet Ironclad. We have a meeting scheduled, and they told me to meet at his house, but I don't even know if they're here right now with all this construction.
And he like looks over the house and looks back at you, and then he asks you to make a persuasion check.
Oh, I would love to make a persuasion check with advantage because I'll have 10 pieces of gold in my right hand.
Okay, so you're like, I need to find them. Bling, 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 bling. Here's some Xenos that I'm just gonna drop into your hand. Okay, all right. Yeah, go ahead and do it.
Oh
yes! Perfect. Oh, I couldn't have asked for a better roll.
Even with advantage, you still got a 5.
You got a 5.
Good. Okay. So he takes the Xenos that you give him, and he kind of like hops them in his hand, tucks them into his pocket, and he was like, "Yeah, man, I don't know whose house this is. Sorry." Kind of like, thanks for the Xenos though. Good luck with your meeting.
I would love to make an insight check to know whether or not he's just not listening to me or not.
Yeah.
Go for the intimidation at this point.
Because this is gonna inform a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
You get a 10, so you get the impression he's kind of fucking with you a little bit.
Cool.
It may be that your like helpless Selesnian act went over a little too hard, and now he's just like, I think it's Rube.
Perfect. And then it's like, wait a minute. I have more questions and a little more Xenos. I know how things work for you guildless.
And he looks around. I know how you poor people need money.
Right.
So he looks around. He's like, I got a few more minutes on my break. I'll listen to your questions.
Thanks, bud. And I like kind of walk with him a little bit. I was like, well, how long has this process been going on for? Like you guys just start?
And he nods. He says, we've only been at it a couple of days.
Mm-hmm. And then who's the foreman on the project? Are you getting a big order from the Azorius sort of coming in to do this work? Or
he shakes his head. He says, I don't know any higher than the guy who hired me. And that was yesterday morning. So,
oh, wow. So you're just really a low level individual who is kind of on the bottom of the chain, who no one really cares about, and has now robbed a Selesnian of his gold.
Hey. I didn't rob you of nothing. You gave me those Xenos.
I drop gold on my floor on the ground in front of me, and I take my rapier from my hand and cut my palm and spill it on the ground.
And he just like watches you with his eyes kind of like,
why would you do that to me? Why would you hurt me?
So you're kind of making a scene like, I'm being attacked by this hobo.
And I rub some like of my blood on him, and while I'm doing it, I grab his chest and like really like now intimidating and being
right. So you like yank him and he's kind of just like, this is completely turned around in a way I didn't expect. And so you yank him off his feet and like he stumbles forward.
And I'd be like, wow, I know your life must be tough and not really having anyone to protect you and force you to resort to this desperate act of violence. I can ignore all of this if you just tell me where the ironclads are and what time is the best to be here.
Make intimidation check. And
Oh,
you're watching all of this from your bubble, your veil of shadows.
I have like our stakeout line, and I'm like, what happened? This is supposed to be a stakeout.
Oh, 15 for intimidation. Okay. So he's like, okay, man, relax. Jesus, get your hands off me.
I smear blood on his face in the process. Oh, sorry.
Put your hand right on his face. Oh God, man. You don't know where I've been, Lou. And he staggers back a little, and he's like, "Oh, you're psycho. What the hell? I told you, man. I don't know whose house this is, but yeah, they didn't leave. They're still living there. At least for now. The wife came out this morning and gave everybody lemonade. You're crazy." And he looks down at the Xenos and he looks at you like, "But I still want those."
Yeah, no, they're all yours.
So you rub your blood on his face and like shove him around, intimidate him, and now you're making him like pick up the coins at your feet. And so he does. He like crouches down and like grabs them and shoves them into his pocket. He gets up and he looks.
You know what, bud? I didn't catch your name.
He kind of like looks at you like, what? Why?
Well, I was just thinking I should tell the foreman that you're not going to be on this project anymore, considering you don't need it. And you got.
He puts his hands on his hips and he scowls at you. He's like, "I'm not telling you my name. You don't need to know my name." And then someone from the work site is like, "Hey, Larry, get back to work."
Oh, Larry.
And he looks at you like, "Fuck."
Larry, I really think you should quit this job, bud.
And he nods and he's like, "Yeah, I think you're right." And he turns to the guy that shouted at him. He's like, "Yeah, man, I quit. I gotta go." And then he's like dashes off down the street, like loses a shoe, has to stop and like pick it up and runs off.
Well, when I make sure that he doesn't turn around, and then I try to like shift back into Rhodes Pass without a trace, so I'm disappear.
Yeah, just like become an indistinct haze. Yeah.
So here's the thing: they're definitely in this building. They haven't gone anywhere, and it seems like there's not really a lot of security on the construction crew. So that might be the best way in and out.
And we did it with only ruining one person's life.
Oh,
I mean, to be fair,
I
did
paid
give Larry a bunch of money, which is a lot more than he would have got paid today.
Oh, and I note this because I lost 15 gold in the process, 15 Xenos.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have 0 Xenos to my name right now. So I was like, yeah, that's a lot.
Your boy's got 35 now, but felt
he took the money and left, and he's gonna go home, and hopefully this is the beginning of a new chapter for Larry, but we'll see. He might just drink it all away.
No, he's gonna start his bakery, Adam. Come on.
He's gonna go join the Gruul and wage war on the Selesnians to get revenge for that one time that Minotaur bullied him. Yeah.
Harry and Larry get together and they make a little bakery, and it's the cutest shit I've ever seen. That's what I want.
They have a son, Barry, and it's beautiful. So what do you want to do here? Do you want to stay and surveil the house, or because now you know that at least, so it's like the middle of the day, so chances are very good that what's his face, Zlatek isn't home, right? Senator Ironclad is either at New Prov or in the local precinct doing what he's got to do, right? He's doing his job. We don't know if Mom also has a job or not. She's part of the Azoria Senate, but we don't know like what column, or if she's retired, or like she's whatever. So it might be just that the kid is home with a nanny, or I don't know what the public school system is like in Ravnica. But probably this kid has like private tutors.
Yeah, that kid is not in public school.
No.
He's got some like engineers helping him.
Yeah, they definitely hire. And also they wouldn't put him in school because school won't teach the true reality of things, which is that Jace Beleren is the best and we should worship him, and that he invented Ravnica. Those damn public schools, they keep teaching you that there's no such thing as planeswalkers. But
I think we probably take a lap maybe and then come back later to see the can find what time he usually gets home.
Yeah, I would like to, in that same vein, just like note what he arrives as. What does the security detail look like arriving, and do any of them then enter the home with him?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let's have you make a. I think Pass Without Trace is going to keep you hidden from any kind of casual looks. But I'm going to get stealth checks from the two of you, and remember to add 10 to whatever you get.
So I got an 18.
Okay. And I'm gonna start a countdown, another countdown.
I got
clock.
a 29.
Your boy got a 29.
Boy, so stealthy, Torgor.
So stealthy. It's the Silesian outfit. I don't feel seen, therefore I am not seen.
Okay, so I'm creating a new countdown clock in my notes, and I'm gonna call it Ironclad's suspicion level. And because it won't just be a like immediate one and done Metal Gear Solid type of deal. Anytime that you do something that I think increases securities, like somebody's following you or like you fail a stealth roll or whatever, that'll start filling that suspicion level until you are discovered. So let's start.
I really like this mechanic. This is wonderful.
Let's start by seeing if the guards or whatever, if Zlatek and his staff notice you. So I think some time passes, and you wait out the sort of the work day, and it gets dark, and like stakeouts are long and they're boring, right? They're mostly just like trying to keep from getting, and then there's brief bursts of like terrific excitement and then back to being boring. So getting through the day, I think you don't really notice much going on at the house. The construction team does their job. People come and go. Someone comes and delivers mail. You get a brief look at Leanna, right? Leanna Ironclad. She comes out to get the mail, and she has a short conversation with the mailman. A little bit of Ravnica trivia. House Demir originally was the postal service in Ravnica.
Really?
They originally, their original thing was delivering mail in Ravnica, and like,
Oh, that's so cool.
they were the communications network of the city, and then
So they got all the secrets.
yeah, and then eventually we're like, you know what, we'd be better if we were a shadowy cabal of secret dealers. Someone else can deliver the mail. Yeah, and you notice like this neighborhood does have ornithopter like presence. But it's not as dense as like the public areas of Precinct 1, like the big plaza or anything like that. But you do occasionally see some coming and going. Eventually it gets dark, and sort of the dinner hour comes and goes, and you're both pretty hungry. And finally, like around, if it were Earth, like around like 9 o'clock, a carriage arrives, and you see Zlatek Ironclad get out, and his personal assistant, an elven woman, and then a handful of like legal aides, little baby lawyers, and they're all talking, and Zlatek is like, obviously this is the equivalent of the guy who's never not on a phone call with his Bluetooth headset in. Like he's just constantly like giving people orders and like being like, all right, I need that letter by tomorrow, and you can go and do this thing. And so he's got this little cloud of like servants around him. But they're not servants in the sense that he like pays them to do things, but they're his interns. And what is the legal equivalent called? There's a term for it when you're like a legal assistant. Paralegal. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah. So he's got an attaché of paralegals that are assisting him. And so he gets out of the carriage. He gives a few more orders to some of the paralegals. They get back in to go and continue doing work for him and resenting the fact that they can't go back to their own families. And then him and his personal assistant walk up to the house and go in the front door. And this is quite late. It's around like 9 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the moment. That one right there.
On the walk in.
I'm gonna see if anybody notices the suspicious people that have been lurking around in the neighborhood. So let me make a roll. And I think for now it's just
Our
like a casual. Yeah, it's just gonna be like a casual observation.
Yeah. I turn to Road and I'd be like, or is it or is it the carriage itself?
Yeah. Yeah. The only part of that being is you don't know if any of those take martial arts for fun to get rid of the dull monotony that is their everyday lives.
For sure.
So
But
that
I love the idea that one of these paralegals secretly goes to ninjutsu class to like work, and then you're like you come out to kill Ironclad, and that one paralegal is like, all right, Kenjutsu, it's time, and he like rips off his outfit, he's got his ninja clothes underneath, and just goes full karate on you.
God.
I do love the idea that like one of them like rips like starts to undo his tie, and then he like the buttons pop off his shirt and he's like ripped.
Yeah, exactly. Just pulls out his business nunchucks.
Giant snake, no problem. Manticore, not an issue. Paralegal?
That's right, karate paralegal.
No.
Yeah, and so
Paramilitary paralegal.
it's good. That's nice. Yeah. There's a great question in chat. I assume Road can continuously short rest to recover a key while pass without tracing. So like if you spend the key point and then I think concentration interrupts a short rest. I don't think you can maintain a concentration spell and also short rest, because otherwise that would lead to all kinds of wacky rules interactions. I think that you have to not be concentrating. But since your day is pretty chill, all you have to do is just spend your key points and you'll remain hidden. And in this case, nobody even gives you a second glance. There are work crews and servants and stuff that are here at night still. You see that as it gets dark, some of the houses seem to have their own kind of security. So you see like security guards basically. And these would probably be in this neighborhood. They're like off-duty Azorius arresters that want to make a little extra bank. And so they act as personal guards at night. So maybe you see one or two of those. Certainly this neighborhood is better patrolled than...
Where would they be stationed at in relation to like where his carriage got off and how he walked in?
So Zlatek Ironclad does not have any of this. His security... you don't see any extra security. There's nobody like hanging out on his lawn at night. Some of the other houses, like maybe one or two on this block. And you only spot them because it's just like somebody doing that kind of like cop on the beat thing, like walking down the street, whistling, swinging some keys, like somebody who's clearly out here to be like, don't rob this place because we're already here. I don't even need to call the cops. It's more a show of force. So that's what, so that's what you determine from your day of examining this location. Meanwhile, Winnegar and Tack, what are you doing? I guess the first question is, Winnegar, you are alone with Tack all day, or do you just like make yourself scarce? What is going to happen here?
I think I would. I'm not going. I guess it really depends. I'm going straight to the station, I guess. But I'm not going to follow. I completely expect Tech to try to give me the slip as we are like going down the street.
Let's rewind. We'll rewind like 12 hours back to this morning after everyone was like, all right, you two go and surveil the place. They leave. The two of you are still there. Tack, I assume you have stuffed all of your stolen stuff into your backpack and are dressed normally again. Your teeth are still covered in black
as funny
lipstick.
as it would be to walk around in a nightie. I'm back to normal except for the lipstick, which I've stolen a lot of her lipsticks and I'm just eating them.
So
they're like little push pops.
Yeah, I was about to say, so as a question, and it's funny that you mentioned this because while you're talking about it, I have a distinct sense memory of being like a toddler and like putting a thing of lipstick in my mouth. Like I know what lipstick tastes like. It's gross.
Yeah.
And it's making me remember that that's a thing I did when I was a very young child.
It's incredibly like waxy.
It's waxy, yeah.
And but for a little while they put like traces of not arsenic, but something almost as deadly to make the colors pop more.
Yeah, right.
And so then it started like, leaching out if you kept it for a while. Anyway.
Yeah. So you, so are you, I guess the question is, because this is maybe going to come up next time you talk to the Rose, if you ever do again, are you taking them, eating the lipstick and then putting the cap back on and putting them in the case? Or is she just going to get an empty lipstick case?
Is who getting an empty lipstick?
Rose, when it gets back to her, like, cause
Oh, those are mine.
so you're just gonna steal the whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So this is just gonna get lost in the move. All right, perfect.
Yeah.
Good.
She's losing a lot of things in the move. I have put 24 Xenos worth of stolen makeup and silverware in my inventory,
Nice.
and I'm taking it. And
Okay.
yes, lead-based pigment. Thank you, chat.
So there is this moment where Torgor and Rode go off to perform Operation Snoop on the house, and you two, Tack and Winnegar, you are still at the house. You're ready to go. What do you do?
Winnegar woke up ready, so he's like ready to go. It's just like he is waiting to get ditched. So he's just like, okay, are we ready to go? And like fully expects not to see Tack somewhere.
Yeah, no, Tack like smiles up with him with this slow, sharp smile full of blood red lipstick. It's just like, hey, buddy,
Hey, what's going on?
you ready to spend the whole day together?
Oh yeah, let's make it
Yes.
happen, Captain.
Yeah, just you, me, some cops, and that weird thing in your bag.
What weird thing in my? What are you talking about? Oh. Okay, bye, Torgor. Bye, Road.
Bye, best friend.
Mhm.
And I want to like close the door and like start walking and be like, so you saw that, huh?
Yeah, I'd love to hear all about it.
Oh yeah. I found it.
Yeah?
Yeah. I
Where?
found it.
Where?
In a cop bar.
Mm-hmm. Which
I want to
one?
roll deception.
Yeah, I think that's
I want to
fair.
roll insight, and I'm going to fail it. Let's be honest.
Mhm, mhm.
Realistically, I know he's lying to me. I just can't prove it.
That's good role play, you know?
15, very deceptive.
I have terrible wisdom, and he has really good charisma, so this is going to go poorly.
A 5, less good. Less good. Yeah.
I have no idea how he got it. I know he's
Yeah.
so,
So yeah, I'm just trying to get it working.
why?
Oh, I mean, so we can learn more. I love taking things apart. Is it, you know?
Of course, no, that makes a lot of sense. I'm sure Torgor is big help with it.
Actually, Torgor doesn't. We haven't had a real chance to talk and like
Oh, we
catch
can
up.
do
So
it now. Do you want to?
I mean, they were already a block away. So
We already said
that's
goodbye.
I can hear. I know you're talking about me. It's fine.
oh, hey,
Hey,
what's going on?
Torgor, you want to come in here?
Torgor and Rode are they're outside of earshot, certainly. But yeah, if you ran up ahead, you could definitely grab them and bring them back.
could-
But
What
yeah,
if we all
for
worked
now.
on it together, a little group project?
I don't know. Last time you guys worked on an ornithopter together, you know, boom.
Yeah, but was that the ornithopter's fault?
I mean, I would blame user error more than I would actually blame the
So-
invention. But that's
So,
just
like,
me.
the ornithopter could blow any minute. Then that's what you're saying.
Well, in the wrong hands, it definitely can. That's why you got to get the right piggies on it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. But you're definitely going to tell them, right?
100%. Absolutely. I'm gonna have to have this conversation sometime.
Yeah.
Hopefully with more information
And
when I
you
actually have something to show.
You
Yeah.
definitely wouldn't lie to me or them, your closest friends in the whole world.
Never.
Your only friends.
I would never
really.
lie to my friends.
Of course not.
Are you sweating? Is Whitaker sweating?
I was
Well, so
just
the
like-
thing is, I mean, that we got to let that 15 and the 5
Oh,
ride.
yeah,
so
definitely.
like, Winnegar, you're, despite whatever else might be going on, and because of
Yeah.
all of our dramatic irony, like we know that it's mostly bullshit. But Winnegar's doing a pretty good job staying
Yeah,
on
and
even
I think
keel.
Tack does believe that Winnegar will tell them, even if Tack is inclined to not believe everything Winnegar says.
Heck, let me
Okay.
ask you this. How did How did you find out I had it?
How do you think?
I don't know. I was asking you. That's why I
I
asked the
spied
question.
on you, moron.
How did you find it? When did you spy? Because there was only one
Last
time
night.
when I actually. How though?
Oh, there's holes in the pictures.
There's holes in the pictures?
Yeah. You just like pop your little eyes through. It's funny.
Oh, okay.
It's because I don't trust you and I'm really looking for a good point to kill you.
Wait, how come you're looking to kill me? And you don't trust me?
Yeah, I thought that I made that really clear.
Well, then why are we even working together, Tack?
I don't know. You're still here, I guess.
No,
Spite of
you're
everything.
still here. You ever think about that, Tack? You ever think maybe Winnegar doesn't like you? Have you thought about that?
Is that what you're saying right now?
Oh, do you have ears, Tack? Can you hear what I'm saying right now, Tack? Do you understand?
I kind of want to stab him. But I'm not done. TK is like setting a hand on Tag's shoulder, like, don't do this. Don't do this today.
I tried so hard to be your friend, Tack. I've tried every single thing I can think of. And you know what I realized? None of it matters. You don't want to be my friend. You want to hurt me. You know what? We don't have to be friends. We don't even have to work together. I'm going to storm off.
Yeah.
I'm gonna follow. This is the first time Tack has liked Winnegar.
You're like, wait, do I like it when you yell at me? Come back here.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Winnegar storms out, and Tack follows. So Tack, make a stealth roll, because that's how the rules of the game work.
Do I
Winnegar,
have
you
to
can make
stealth roll?
I don't even know if you're like Winnegar. It sounds like you're pretty distracted. It's not like you're ever going to be able to succeed at noticing Tack, but it. Like, do you look? Do you actively like look behind you to see if Tack followed you?
Yeah, I think I would. I think I would have looked. At
So
least
Tack,
I can't get this. There's no way. I can.
What's more salient is that Tack would notice you looking for them, right? Rather than like my interest here isn't like, do you spot Tack? Because I don't think that's interesting or possible. It's more, what do we see Winnegar do, and how does Tack respond to that? Like, what does Tack see, right? Because there's a big difference between I storm off and I never look back versus I storm off, I get a block away, and I'm like, am I being followed?
Yeah. Is Winnegar watching his back? And does Tack know that Winnegar is now watching his back?
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Just roll it. Right.
Wow.
There you go. All right. So an 18, an excellent roll, but Tack is a stealth monster.
Yeah.
So
10 off. Yeah.
yeah. So
Tack is a tiny serial killer.
So Tack, this is what you see. You see Winnegar like clearly suspicious and like watching, like Carlos said, watching his back.
So, from what Tack can see, is I forgot what Winnegar's name was for a second. I was like, I'm not actually trying to kill Carlos.
Slightly
Is
outside
Winnegar
the possibilities of
acting
the
in a
game.
way where he genuinely believes Tack's going to attempt to kill him? Or is he just mad?
That is an insight check, is what that is.
Okay. I'd love that.
And it's not being directly opposed, but basically,
Yeah, no
Carlos, for this role, use TK's results to decide how much you say about your emotional state. All right, so 13, which is pretty good for Tack, but it's not that good. It's slightly
it's
above
not.
average.
I think with Tack too, a lot of Tack disliking Winnegar is that Tack has never seen Winnegar be genuinely passionate about anything. And so like Winnegar standing up to them puts them in a position where they're like, oh, there's their personality.
Yeah,
You're gonna get cold Winnegar.
Yeah, how much does Tack
I'm
Tack see?
excited.
Yeah, I think Winnegar, it was very genuine in that instant where he was just like, again, Tack wants to kill everyone anytime. He wasn't really whatever. It was when Tack said like, I don't trust you. We're not friends. I'm going to kill you. Like, well, you know what? Screw it. Like, you know what? We're not friends. We're not friends. And like, yeah, like it's over. We're not friends anymore.
We're Dunyan rings.
Yeah.
Friendship ended.
Mhm. Okay.
You and I are done.
So there's probably more subtle emotional resonance there. It's probably deeper than that, but that's what you pick up is Winnegar being done with the whole mess.
Whoa.
Yeah. So where do you go, Winnegar?
Sorry, there's someone ringing all the doorbells, all the buzzers.
Someone really
in the
needs to get
building.
into your house.
That's a solicitor. Don't let him in.
It's like nonstop. I could hear it on the floors below me, across the hall. They're just like hitting every button. So if you hear this and
Yeah. So far I can't hear it, but
oh, you can't hear it?
no, your
I
noise gate
literally
is
can
doing
hear
a
it.
good job.
It's so loud. Yeah, I have a noise gate, a compressor, and a de-esser on this
And
thing right now.
that's why we have these things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, you're good. We can't hear it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna go. So he worked. Where does he? Is it at the station? No.
So he's a senator, right? So he has an office in the precinct. It's confusing because they're called precincts, and that's what we call places where police work.
Yeah.
So it's a precinct and a precinct. But he works at the station, at the Azorius, the main station in Precinct 1, which is a pretty significant posting because Precinct 1 is like a high class, like a rich neighborhood. The Transguild Promenade runs right through it. It's kind of like a big deal part of town. And so he has an office there, and that's technically his like riding or jurisdiction or whatever. But he also probably has an office in New Prav that he goes to when he has to do like official Azorius court stuff. So he's going to be, when he's working, he's in one of those two locations if he's not like taking meetings or whatever. But this kind of dude, he's the sort of person who makes you come to him. So he probably has a lot of like people come to Precinct 1 to like come to his office. I would say he's probably there most of the time if you had to guess.
Yeah, that's where I'm gonna head then. I'm gonna head to Precinct 1.
It is the same precinct building in which Rhodes' sister, Triska, works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But she's a detective, so she works in an adjacent building, right? Like he works. It's like how sometimes in cities you'll have the courthouse and a police station and they're connected. So she works in the police station that is connected to the larger courthouse that he works in.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, I'm going to disguise self before I walk in and do some recon.
Okay.
And I think I'm gonna like kind of hang out on a bench beforehand and get the lay of the land and see if I can tell like, okay, these people are definitely in charge. These people are more like paralegals. And he wants to disguise self as a paralegal that he sees, just so he can kind of just be ignored and walk around.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. So I like that you see somebody go by and we watch them come into an alley and then we watch them just come right back out again.
Yeah.
And so you've disguised yourself as a generic Azorius paralegal. Okay, cool. And for some reason, I'm just imagining Reese Witherspoon from Legally Blonde. So I guess some weird reason you look like Reese Witherspoon now. Okay, all right. So Tack, that's what you see. You see this paralegal go into the alley that you know Winnegar is in, and then you see them a second later come back out, adjusting like their clothes and kind of getting into character.
Yeah. Running their hand through their beautiful Reese Witherspoon.
That's right. Reese Witherspoon was in that Dangerous Liaisons remake from the 90s with
Yes, Cruel Intentions.
Cruel Intentions. She was. Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure I was thinking of the right person.
She was the good Christian girl.
Yes.
Side note, right. I was at the gym and I caught a recent Reese Witherspoon movie, and she was in it with Sofia Vergara from Modern Family, and they were like the premise is they're handcuffed together, and it's like a buddy cop type thing. I think one of them is a cop, but it was so poorly done that like while I'm just on this exercise bike, I've seen not one but two scenes where the cuffs come off in scene and then they put them back on, just like in the background somewhere. You can see them like trying to fix the cuffs. I was just like, wow, like anything can get made, guys. Like anything
at all, anything you ever wanted.
For the record, it made $15 million. So
did it really?
Yeah, it was a success.
Wow, there you go.
It's hot pursuit. is the name of the
Hot Pursuit.
Hot Pursuit.
Now that's the commentary that I need. I need the Hot Pursuit commentary.
Yeah, right. Well, this is the thing.
I was so drunk.
If you tune into this show purely for like people playing Dungeons and Dragons, you have made a wrong turn somewhere in
very
your
wrong,
life.
yeah.
We do commentary while we do the game. So cool. Reese Witherspoon. Winnegar pretending to be Reese Witherspoon. You're heading into the court building. Is that the plan?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So you walk in and it has all of the hustle and bustle of a late 90s police procedural drama, people coming and going. Somebody gets escorted in, like a gruel ogre with big handcuffs on, and they keep falling off, but they fix them in the background. Gets brought in by guards. There are Azorius coming and going, and you see a mix of like senators in their long beautiful robes coming and going from the various court cases, and the whole thing has a very kind of like busy but parliamentarian kind of vibe. Like there's a very kind of official, like things are getting done here. The law is being tended to, and when you walk in, that is what you see. You just kind of have this wash of people going about their business, being extremely lawful. Where do you go? What do you do?
Yeah, I just imagine I'm walking in through the door. It's like a big wide shot of all the hustle and bustle, and then it pans and you just see the back of my head as I see like people cross like every which way. I want to find a break room.
Okay.
Where like different people are sitting and chatting, and I am just gonna sit there, eat my yogurt, listen, and try to figure out who's who and where's where.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Tack, when Winnegar goes into the courthouse building, this big white stone edifice with the sigil, the triple triangle of the Azorius Senate glistening in the light above. When Winnegar slips into the crowd, what do you do?
See, this is the problem now with the deception and insight roll that we did. Now that like we are out of the heat of that moment, Tack is not so sure. Is like, like maybe I fucked up, but like type of thing. Being like, was I wrong? Like now very confused about their motives, because there is now a very good chance that if they try to go into this precinct, that Tack has no way of knowing that Winnegar is not as spiteful as Tack is. And if it were Tack, they would immediately try to get their teammate kicked out by being like, man, that other person's here and they're terrible, thus jeopardizing the mission, because that's all Tack knows how to do, is jeopardize the mission for their own selfishness. And so now they're outside of this precinct, like, I have no idea how to carry through with this, because to them, there is a very real possibility that what they have done has now rendered them unable to complete this mission. So they're going to hang out outside and like look for like janitors, wait staff, trash, things like that. Scout out back entrances and try to get an idea of the layout of this precinct as stealthily as possible and like case the place, because they are now convinced they cannot go inside.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense, right? All right. So I guess investigation rolls from both of y'all, from Winnegar and Tack.
Oh no.
13.
Oh, I'm scared of this intelligence roll. 6.
Okay. All right.
Is Tack dealing with self-doubt?
Okay. So
That what's happening? Is this a feeling?
So Winnegar, you can ask me a couple of questions about what you might have picked up, and I will answer. And then Tack, you don't get maybe the information you want, but you overhear a conversation that to anybody else might be irrelevant, but I think you'll be interested in it. We'll get to that. So Winnegar, what do you want to know? You post up in the break room, and do you bring your own yogurt, or do you just take one that just like says Karen on it from the fridge?
Yeah, I think I take one out of the cooler. It says Melanie.
Yep.
Come on,
okay. All right. It is
mango.
It is plain low-fat yogurt. You think that maybe there's some like sliced up pineapples in the fridge somewhere that's supposed to go in here, but you can't find them anywhere. So, so yeah, you sit in this break room, and a lot of the conversation is just griping, right? A lot of it is like, oh my God, who are you assigned to this morning? Oh, Judge Corthon. He's the worst. Like this guy. And so like just a lot of people complaining about their bosses, or like how much work they have to do, or like, can you believe I got sent home at 8 o'clock yesterday, and I had been working since 5 that morning, and like just like a lot of kind of, but there is this vibe of like, but we're doing something here. We're helping. We're keeping the law, right? That baseline Azorius programming that gets them to do things they don't want to do for the sake of the greater good. And you absorb a lot of that conversation. But what information are you looking for in particular? What kind of questions are you trying to hear the answer to?
A couple things a couple things that would make me perk my ears up. One would be any talk of Ironclad, obviously, but specifically, like, is he working? Does this person work with him? Is this person working? They have an office near him? Anything to do with his schedule? Anything to do with like people that are working on similar cases as him? Yeah. Anything that would like find anywhere that I could leapfrog out of this break room into a different spot that brings me closer to him.
Yeah, definitely. So the way it usually works is that the senators have their own staff, right? They have people that they work with every day. So he's got his own personal assistant that manages all of his scheduling in his case and stuff. And those people are not this break room kind of people. The people that you interact with, they are assigned judges or senators or whatever on a case by case or day by day basis. So some of them will show up and be like, okay, I'm here from New Prov to help out in Precinct 1 today. And then they get assigned to a specific person. So if you were pretending to be a paralegal, that would be a thing you could do, is try to get assigned to Ironclad. It doesn't seem like the paralegals have control over that, but you do overhear a conversation. How long does disguise self last?
It's 1 hour.
An hour. Okay, so you only have an hour to gather. I guess you can cast it again, right? You can go and slip into the bathroom and be like,
that's what I figured. Yeah.
My Reese Witherspoon wig is falling off. Okay. All right. So you spend some time in the break room, and I think you come back from reapplying your spell, and there are a couple of young humans sitting at the table, and they're talking about Ironclad. They're talking about this like case that he's apparently building, and he and they're complaining about what a taskmaster he is. And both basically are like, I can't believe we got assigned to this asshole. And maybe when you walk in, one of them, he looks over at you, and they're both like eating sandwiches or whatever. And he's like, you ever had to work for Ironclad before?
Ooh. But I don't know that they're talking about this yet. Or
no,
you do.
Yeah, you were listening. Basically, they just noticed you. They've been in here. You walk in, you hear them be like, yeah, he's a real asshole. And then they want to commiserate. So one of them turns to you because you just walked into the room, and he's like, yeah, you ever had to work for this guy before?
This can go either way. I'm going to say yes. I'm just going to be like, oh God, what does Reese Witherspoon sound like? Because I don't want to do her voice in Legally Blonde. I just want to do Reese Witherspoon's voice.
I don't know that I've ever heard Reese Witherspoon speak out of character.
She naturally has like a higher pitched voice, and it's a little bit Valley Girl.
It is. That's what I was thinking too.
It's very much like this, you guys. She uses a lot of
very much
up.
Okay, up.
Yeah.
Up. It's very much like this, you guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
That
Yes,
sounds like the Winnegar version of that. Yeah.
I think she does it. She's constantly setting, right? She's constantly like, yes, I have worked with it. And yes, he can be a total Scrooge McDuck, if you know what I mean. But he's a little rough around the edges, but I feel like a sandwich and a full stomach always helps.
That's perfect. I'm so mad.
And they kind of like look at each other and look at you and like, they sigh and roll their eyes, and they're like,
This is still the plot of Legally Blonde,
is, yeah.
like being judged, being judged by her peers.
Mm-hmm. And they kind of look at you like, "What do you know?" And the other one, the one that didn't ask you there first, is like, they said it was going to be good for my career, right? Working for this Ironclad guy. He's a rising star, but I don't know. I feel like there's just more work we could be doing outside of Precinct 1. Who wants to watch over a bunch of rich people and their kids? The real work's getting done at New Prav. Big changes are coming. And the other one rolls his eyes and he says to you, he's going to start talking about ornithopters. And he's like, what? They're the future of law enforcement technology. It's obvious. And then they start in on a conversation about that. And it's clear that this is an argument these two have been having for a while.
Oh my God, I feel like I gotta make a constitution save to not join in on ornithopters.
You're like, well, technically.
But my ears perk up when he mentions like taking care of someone's family, right?
Mhm.
Like that's what he said.
Yeah.
And I want to pull someone who didn't say that, like one of the other guys who's just like sitting there listening to the conversation or whatever, and be like, I'm sorry, did he just say that you guys are assigned to watch this family?
And so the guy that's sitting there, he's like reading a newspaper. And on the front of the newspaper, there's a picture of what looks like a tent, a big circus tent, and it's on fire. And they're like bodies like littering the street. And it says like Racto Circus Nightmare. And it's an article about the chaos of the night before. And
Scoops is dead.
Yeah. And he looks up from the newspaper and he looks at you. And he says, yes, some of the arresters are being assigned as personal security detail.
Oh, wow. So personal security detail. Okay. So I want to pull up a seat and I'm like, oh, that is so interesting. I'm going to take
he makes a face like, oh, this is a conversation now. And he like folds the newspaper up and he's like, guess I'm gonna have to wait till tomorrow to find out what happened to Marmaduke. And like folds it over, puts it on the counter, and watches you like steal another yogurt.
This one just says Edith on it. And I'm just eating it. That is so interesting. So you all went to school for such a long time and now you get to be babysitters.
Well, it's not us exactly. I mean, he gestures. You think any of these people could prevent a kidnapping or an assassination? No. It's all in preparation for some big move. I don't know. I mostly deal in copyright law.
Wow, that is so fascinating. And
I'm gonna roll to see if this man falls in love with you. Reese Witherspoon just said that his very, very boring job was fascinating. I'm gonna give him a 50-50 chance. Let's
Did you
say
what family this is? I'm sorry.
What's that?
Did you say the family?
No. Just a bunch of arresters, like cops, have been assigned to like watch over senators and their families.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. 11 or better. Yes. So he looks at you and he's like, wait a second. This attractive paralegal thinks that my job in copyright law is interesting. Well then. And so his whole like effect changes. Like he shifts a little closer to you and he's like, well, I could tell you about it in greater detail if you wanted, maybe over drinks.
It's just like
The
Winnegar voice comes out.
So if you do the Winnegar voice, and then it just immediately nullifies this roll. Like he just is like, whoa, never mind.
I won't do it. Okay, but can I roll an insight to tell if he's into me?
I don't think you need to roll. Well, maybe Winnegar does.
Okay.
It's up to you. If you think a roll is necessary for Winnegar to detect that, then please do. But otherwise, no.
Okay, I think I detected it. I have his attention or whatever. Yeah, I want to lead this sheep from the herd to somewhere else. Be like, oh, that is so interesting. Yes, I just always found copyright law like amazingly interesting. Like, do I own the thing because I made it up? But what if I was inspired by what I saw? Like, who knows? Who owns ideas? It's like, oh, I pick it out of nowhere. It's an idea. Is it mine? Is it yours? Who knows? I basically want him to show me like something in a different room, like his office or some notes that he has, or you know, something like that.
Also, he says, and actually make a persuade check, because this is he wants to show you something that maybe he shouldn't, but
okay.
But I want to see how persuasive you are. Let's see. Ooh, 7. Okay, so he isn't ready to spill the secrets, but he does say he's like, yeah, you know, my break is just about over, but if you want, I could take you for a quick walk through the patent library. I mean, just this branch. It's not the patent library at New Prov. Oh boy, you're not ready for that library. But the local office, there's some pretty interesting patents in there. I think I got some time.
Oh yeah, that would be great. Let's do that. That sounds amazing. Oh God, I hope.
So the two of you get up and go to leave. He opens the door for you, and as you walk past, he looks at the two guys at the table like, "Hey, suckers," and then follows you outside. So while that's happening, while you're going to a second location with this copyright lawyer, Dungeons and Dragons.
I was about to say.
Take that, Tolkien. While that's happening, Tack, you are outside, kind of pacing around, scoping out the joint. The security on this place is pretty good. You only got a 6, so you don't get any tactical information that's useful to you. But as a Golgari, you overhear a conversation that sends shivers down your spine. So on the steps of the courthouse, you overhear two senators having a brief conversation. One says to the other, the conversation begins with, like, you pick up on, like, is Asperia sure about this? This is going to cause chaos. And the other says, I have the direct order. All I have to do is deliver it, and tomorrow morning. And the other senator nods and says, I know. But if we're going to strike at the Golgari, this is the best opportunity. Their leadership is fragmented. And the other says, but is a blanket arrest order really necessary? And he says, you can't see it in Precinct 1, but in the other precincts, those closer to the swarm, there's already chaos. This Vraska is dangerous. Her and her goons all need to be arrested. And the other nods, and he says, for Ravnica. And the other one nods, and he turns and goes, and it seems to you that in just a few hours, a general arrest order for all members of the Golgari swarm is about to be put out as an edict by the Senate. So you overhear this conversation, and I think that we get a reaction shot. We see Tack's face. What do we see before we fade to credits? What is Tack's response to that?
I think it's less like a facial reaction and more like Tack stands up from wherever they were hiding and moves to the closest opening to the Golgari underground.
Yeah, you're like
going to abandon the mission.
I gotta warn Mom.
Go back down.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so we see Tack disappear into a. I love that if you're a Golgari and you need to get home, all you gotta do is just dump into the nearest open sewer.
Yeah.
I'll just be going now. Excuse me. Step into a manhole. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so we see you slip away, and we fade to black on today's episode. Cool. Things are progressing. It's been really fun juggling both the narrative of the game and then Ravnica's own built-in kind of canonic narrative. Like sometimes I forget that there are events occurring because we get so caught up in the like silly bullshit that the characters are doing. It's really fun to be able to jump back and be like, yeah, while that's happening, the Azoria Senate have issued a blanket arrest order for everyone in the Golgari, essentially declaring war on the swarm. Let's see how that goes. So it's fun playing in a world that has its own kind of like living timeline that I can try to follow along with. But thank you for coming, everybody, and thank you, my players, for an excellent job. Let's do XP before we do the shoutouts this time, so I don't forget. So today, and this is really a lot of like setup episode, but there were some scenes. So let's see. Did you learn something about Jace Beleren, his conspirators, or servants? I don't think. What did we learn today? What was the new thing that we learned about Jace or his Belerians?
I mean, it's if you count Ironclad as a conspirator. We spent a lot of time learning.
Yeah,
about
like
him.
I think we already knew. Like this isn't anything like new information. We're acting on information that we have, but I didn't see any new stuff come up, which is fine.
Sure.
I'm sure once you get your hands on Ironclad, maybe he'll have some things to say before he dies. Okay. Did anybody express a unique aspect of their class, race, or background?
I mentioned my ex-girlfriend who was in Celestia. We've talked a little bit about.
That's true.
Past.
We did learn a little bit about Torgor because of the X angle, and that will lead in stuff. So yeah, I think for background that qualifies. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, take a point. Anybody express their connection to their guild in a meaningful way? I think Tack, you latched on that one right at the end. So that was cool. I feel like for this one, that conversation that like Rode and Torgor had about the guild list, I think qualifies right for this one, because it was like Rode kind of sees the guilds as differently than Torgor, and we learned a little bit about the guilds and about their connections to them through that.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. And then alignment. Anybody's alignment complicate their life in an interesting way.
I'm gonna argue for myself with this one. I'm gonna just advocate for my assholery.
Yeah, I think anytime that Tech does a thing that is like, well, and I think what was interesting was that it wasn't just like you're doing a good job playing Tech, not just as like the group asshole. Like that's a level to it, but it's interesting because I feel like every time you do it, the part of you that is like you said today, like TK is like, okay, Tack, hang on a second. Like it's cool
like
getting access to watching you struggle with that, where you're like, I want to be the group asshole, but also I don't want to ruin the game.
Tack's like, no, or TK's like, no, don't stab Vinegar because he made you feel a feeling.
Don't do the thing. I think that's really cool. It's good seeing that. So yeah.
You can't just kill everybody who makes you feel bad.
Yeah, I'm into it. I'm down.
That's a different character.
Yeah, right. Cool. So everybody mark whatever experience you got today, and let's shout it out and we'll call it a day. Let's start with Katie this time, because that's who I was already pointing at. Katie, where can people find you on the internet when you're not here?
I never go first. This is wild. I'm Katie May. You can find me at Twitter at OKKatieMay. If you want to hear me get up to some DM shenanigans, you can listen to Dungeons, Dice, and Everything Nice. We're an all-women, all-comedian Dungeons & Dragons podcast. It takes place in Chicago. If you're in Chicago and you want to see us do a live show, you can head over to International Games Day at your library, which is going to be at Harold Washington Library on November 2nd. We're trying out a new format where we rotate who the DM is every 20 minutes.
I was waiting for like every session or whatever, every 20 minutes.
It's one live show and we're switching it out every 20 minutes. We're hoping to get it. We do something weird and crazy every year for C2E2. So this is we're trying this formula to see how it goes. So if you're interested, come to International Games Day at your library. But that's all my things.
Nice. Someone in chat suggested that we do youngest to oldest shout outs. I think who is the next? This was an easy start. I think who's the next to oldest after Katie?
I think it's me.
It's you. I think it's Masood. Yeah. Okay. All right, Masood.
How old are you? Wait, everyone's
ages. How rude. We'll do
them as we go. So yeah, are you next, Masood?
Yeah, I'm 27.
Okay. Yeah, then
so
you're
probably definitely. Okay. Hey, it's your Marood boy. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MAHRUDEBOI. Twitter, I'm not going to follow you back, but you never know. I might post some interesting things. I'm being a little more active in this space. I almost followed D&D. I almost did it. I was like, if that should be the one, right? But then I thought,
they were mean to us today.
And then and then I thought better of it until they're sweeter to us in our campaign. No follow for you.
Take that, Lisa.
Yeah, Lisa, we love you. You're wonderful. But otherwise, I'm around doing stuff all over Chicago in terms of comedy things. You can keep up with that. The best way is either on my Instagram or Twitter. Yeah. Oh, I'm doing a show on Thursday night at IO at the Arts and Culture Club. We're roasting Drake, and I'm very excited about it. I'm sorry, Adam, if you have personal feelings about this, but I have.
What? Because I'm a Canadian?
Yeah, I know. He's your Tom Hanks.
No, but let me just tell you
You're a
though.
rap
Let me
fan.
just tell you,
Rap.
he's from Ontario, and I'm from British Columbia, which means we're not friends. So it's
Friendship
Oh.
canceled. Yeah.
I live in Vancouver, and I think he's from Toronto. So like, no, it's fine.
Wow.
Toronto, aka Diet Detroit.
Yes, take that, Toronto.
Yeah, if you want other hot geopolitical takes, follow me on Instagram and Twitter. But otherwise, I'm gonna be here every Wednesday because this is so much fun. Yeah.
Excellent, cool, thank you. All right, next up, who's the next oldest? Is it Carlos?
TK.
No,
Is
it's
it
me.
TK?
I'm
All right.
32, so
Yeah.
Okay.
So now we're getting into the born pre 1990. It TK. I at Space Stories, put them on the internet. You can read them. My website is tkjwrites.com. I just updated my website for like the first time in 2 years, and I'm not going to do it again for 2 more years. So
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
that's that's where I am today. Follow me on Twitter. TK joins the fray. Every Friday I do Tales from the Mists, which is kind of a lie because we only have 2 episodes left. So every Friday until after Halloween, we're doing a live show for Extra Life at Halloween. And this week I'll be announcing who the special guest is, even though everybody who is playing this game knows who it is. But it's not anybody in this game. They just know because I never stop talking about myself because I'm I will not be here next Wednesday, which is good because neither will Tack. So
Yeah, it was good. It was a good little slip out the end. Nice.
almost scripted, but not.
Almost, but not. Yep.
That's it. That's all I
All
have.
right, Carlos, is it you or me?
That's a good question. Can we figure it out through movies?
I hate you both.
Yeah, is there a way we can do this and also alienate Katie?
Yeah, is there something to happen?
What was the number 1 Aerosmith song?
Oh, no.
Oh yeah.
What was?
I
hold
can
on,
tell
what
you.
was?
I can tell you the
I
number
don't
1
know.
song of the year that I was, the year and the month that I was born, but I can't tell you. But I hope it's not an Aerosmith song. Let's.
What's the movie what's the number 1 movie in the box office the month you were born? Do you remember that?
Let's take a look.
Not that you would remember it from that time.
You're
but I'm
right.
sure there's like all those.
Okay, so let's see. So the top movie yearly box office results of
I'm
the
gonna tell you guys
year.
just to freak
Because it's supposed to be the tagline of that movie is supposed to like represent your entire life.
Oh no.
Oh, good. Okay.
Mine checks out 100%.
Yo, what was
Mine is it's gonna be mine is Return to a Galaxy Far, Far Away. It's like it's not that bad.
Okay, so when did
Hey. Sorry, I've got Hook, so that feels
nice.
very on pro. Yeah.
so wait, hold on. Is yours is an 81, 83?
83.
Are you
Yeah.
80,
Yeah, Return
83?
of the Jedi.
Okay.
Oh,
Yep.
missed Lethal Weapon by this.
I know the
much.
second movie is Terms of Endearment, so that would have been a better one.
Oh.
But
I'm Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
Mission Impossible. I saw that in the theater.
Actually, you know what? I am gonna. Lethal Weapon was the highest grossing the week I was born, so I'm gonna
you can go with that one. Very nice.
Take it. It's mine.
It's to you, Adam. I'm
Yeah?
older than you.
Oh, there you go. All right. Well, cool. Thanks for coming, everybody. I don't normally do the second to last one. You can find me on Twitter at Skinny Ghost or on Twitch, twitch.tv/Adam Coble. I also run lots of other RPG stuff. You can find we have a still pretty brand new, fresh out of the oven Roll20 Presents campaign. We're doing Descent into Avernus. It's every Monday at 1 p.m. It has possibly the sickest theme song of any role-playing game in the history of time. So if you don't tune in live, you'll never get to hear it. So do that. Come on by. Otherwise, find me in those other places. And then last but not least, playing Winnegar, it's Master of Disguise, Carlos Luna. Do it, Carlos.
Master of Disguise. The tagline for my life is, he is afraid, he is totally alone, he is 3 million light years from his home. E.T.
Wow.
Ah,
Oh, I was
E.T..
about to say, is that E.T.?
Yeah,
E.T..
I was thinking last Starfighter, but that's
Oh,
Oh, that's such a not as great as it was when I was a kid.
yeah,
but
right.
still
It's
good
really
movie.
bad. Yeah,
yeah. I
yeah.
revisited that movie maybe last year. It did not.
doesn't hold up.
What was
No, it's
it
true.
was like Laser Blossom or something move for that. Oh God, it was so bad.
Anyways, hey, my name's Carlos Luna. You can find me on all social media under Carlos Crits. You can find me next week at Gamehole Con. And then on Sundays on this channel for Rivals of Waterdeep. I don't have anything else planned. Oh, wait, no, that's a lie. Lost Odyssey. You can also find me at Lost Odyssey in November, mid-November? Mid-November.
13th,
yes.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, the 13th. Thank you. Yeah.
Nice. Well, cool. Masood's cat, thanks for stealing the limelight, giving us a cat-related shout out. Yeah, look at that cute animal. Hell yeah. Oh,
She's a little
what a nice
baby.
way to end the show. Thanks for coming, everybody. This has been Jace Beleren Must Die. We're getting closer every episode, just a little closer.
Are we though?
I mean,
Well,
hopefully
this episode.
next episode will be Jace Beleren's underling, a lawyer we don't like, must die. So we can start there, and we'll keep climbing that ladder until we get to Blues Traveler himself. I'll see you next
Johnny
time, everybody.
Poppers.
Thanks
See
for
ya.
coming.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.